Hey, what's up everybody? It's the Classic Tycoon here, and we're back for episode 4 of our Mystic Mountain Let's Play series. It's been quite a while since I've done this series, so I figured we could just jump back into it, kind of where we left off. Again, it's been a while, so I'm having a hard time remembering what was happening last time, but looks like our goal is to have 800 guests at the end of October year 3. We are currently on October 29th year 1, so just about finishing up year 1, and it's actually a pretty full park already. I mean, you look at all this stuff here. I think the most recent thing built was this roller coaster here, the Fox. Either that or the bumper boats off to the left, or whatever those are, the canoes. So yeah, I mean, this park's going pretty strong right now. The guest count's almost 500. So we need to gain 300 guests in the next 2 years, and that's not going to be a problem at all. The only thing with this, looks like we're running an advertising campaign. The only thing with this park is, and I'm pretty sure we discussed this earlier in the series, is that it's just like tiny. There's not a lot of room here for expansion, and for a Let's Play series, that makes it a little bit tricky because I want to constantly be building things to make it entertaining, but we're going to be filling up the park pretty quick here. So that's going to be one of the challenges of this park. We can look into expanding the park because it looks like, I mean, I've already built quite a few gentle rides here and a few roller coasters. I mean, just 2, I guess, roller coasters. They're not that big, so size isn't everything, right? But we've got some room for expansion here, but the problem with that is that it's really expensive to expand your park. And when we only have 3 years to do this thing, it's not like we've got hundreds of thousands of dollars to work with here. I'm not in any debt right now. Looks like the max I can borrow is $15,000. And at $90 per square, as I'll show you right here, 10 squares is going to knock you back $900. You know, that's not going to leave me a lot of room for expansion at my current price that I can afford. So we'll see. We'll see if we can expand that a little bit, maybe more close to the middle of year 2 or maybe the end of year 2. Maybe we'll have a little bit more money to work with in that area. Maybe we'll borrow some more money to do that. But then if we do that, then we're going to have to wait so that we can actually afford to buy a roller coaster to fill in with that space. So there's a lot of dynamics that go into it. Anyways, I want to build a new roller coaster today. Something small. I'm thinking the Wooden Wild Mine ride. That would probably fit the theme of this park pretty well. You can see in the left of the screen there, we've already got some kind of mine scenery. And over in that corner would probably be pretty perfect to put a Wooden Wild Mine ride. It's small enough that it won't look... I mean, it's large enough that it will fit, and small enough that it won't look like awkward to have just like a little roller coaster over there. So that's what we're gonna work on right now. It's also a little bit hilly over there, so I can kind of work with the terrain to make the roller coaster a little bit more interesting. So we'll start working on that. The Wooden Wild Mine ride is different than the Wild Mouse in that there are no block break sections available, so it's just got to be a continuous circuit roller coaster, and that's fine. I mean, it's just, you just build the roller coaster and go, which I kind of like better than having a block sectioned Wild Mouse. A lot of times it's hard to have enough block sections to keep the queue line moving for the Wild Mouse if you do decide to go the block section route. And at the same time, you don't want to have like so many block sections that the Wild Mouse just never moves. So I think I prefer the Wooden Wild Mouse and the Wooden Wild Mine ride over the Steel Wild Mouse for that reason. These roller coasters are oftentimes pretty compact, at least the way that I build them. It can be tricky getting the hills right on these roller coasters. You got to really make sure that the carts have enough momentum to get over the next hill, but also it's easy to keep, you know, the turns in this are so sharp, it's easy to have the cart going too fast, and then you get some really high G-force ratings. So you just got to be really aware of what you're doing with your hills when you're doing these roller coasters, and that's pretty much any roller coaster in general, right? But with the sharp turns in this one's, it's especially easy to overdo it. This is kind of what I like to do with these roller coasters. I do kind of some more gradual, like, dips into the downward, if that makes sense. Like, I do kind of a shallow into a steep drop, back to a shallow and then flat, and then after that I'll do like a almost, you know, just a steep up and steep and steep back to flat, if that makes any sense. But yeah, that's kind of how I like to play the dynamic and make sure that the cart is making it over the next hill, but also maintaining a slow enough speed once it's at the top of its next hill, so that it doesn't, you know, be ridiculously fast going around the corners. So right here, I have a little bit of trouble being able to click around the roller coaster. I probably should have sped this part up a little bit more. But you can watch me struggle with the land adjustments here. Seems like as I increase the height of the land, a lot of times the game will automatically click different parts of the roller coaster, so I'd have to go back and find where I was and click the piece that I was working on. But it's not too bad. Right now, I'll just kind of leave this terrain the way that it looks. I might expand that kind of gravel area to cover the entire mountain that we're working around. I'm not sure yet, but we'll decide that later. Alright, so do this one final dip, and then let's adjust this a little bit. And so I kind of like to do the single cart little coasters on this. It's just the way that I prefer it. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing the two carts attached to each other, but that's just kind of, I like the way that it looks, just having one cart go throughout. So I like the way that this cart is maintaining that speed throughout. I didn't see anything where it went too ridiculously fast. So I like the look of this roller coaster. Let's see what our ratings end up looking like. Everything's in the black, 8 drops, and there's our ratings. So 6.7, what does that say? 8 excitement rating, and an almost 8.5 intensity rating. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. We'll stick with that. I apologize if you hear my corgi attacking me in the background. He doesn't want to leave my arm alone. All right. So we'll speed through some of this, and then we'll get this coaster opened up for the public. Okay, so the one of the bigger problems with a roller coaster like this is the queue line and just making sure that the queue line is moving. I think the coaster is short enough that with the 7 cars, it kind of looks like they're going to be finishing up at a pretty good time so that the line will just be constantly moving. Only, 2 guests at a time can ride, so it's going to be important that the line is moving constantly so that the guests get on there fast enough. We might need to put an entertainer in there later. I'm not sure if the guests start complaining about the wait time for the ride, because that can cause some problems. But yeah, looks like we got a balloon stall researched. Let's throw one of these in here. Guests will buy souvenirs and balloons a lot of times based on their happiness. So it's good to put souvenir stalls or balloon stalls kind of near your rides that are going to make guests happier. So I figured right in between these 2 roller coasters here would be a pretty good option for the balloon stall. And we'll just color them black, white, because we're boring like that. Preset to $1 profit per item. I don't think guests will be complaining about that price. And yeah, the last thing I wanted to look at here is you can see, especially as it's raining here, and I think it rains a lot in this park, it's really crowded. I mean, we've only got 500 guests in the park, and I look at our thoughts, 40 of the guests are saying that it's too crowded. So that's almost 10% of our guests are complaining about the crowding. Oh, now it just jumped up to 71. But over 10% of the guests are complaining about the crowding, and that's especially going to be a problem when it's raining because no one's going to get in the queue lines. So we're going to have to look at that in the future. Oh, I forgot to rename my roller coaster here, so we're going to rename it Raccoon. Yeah, overcrowding is going to be a big problem. So that's another reason to expand the park so that we can fit more pathways and more rides so that guests are busier, so they're not just wandering around the park. And we might want to expand some of these queue lines, make them longer so that more guests can fit into the queue lines, so they're not just on the pathways being all crowded as well. But it'll help when it stops raining and guests are able to get in those lines. All right, that's pretty much it for today. So we'll get back into this series, and yeah, I'll do these as often as I can. I do need to get back into my Dragon Ball Z series as well. I want to film and record as much as I can. I'm having a little bit of time open up here, so you should be seeing more videos more often. I want to get really back into doing this, and it's been fun. Thanks so much, everyone who's stuck around this long in the video. If you have, please give me a like, give me a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, all that good stuff. I appreciate all you guys, especially the ones who've stuck around, as I haven't made a video since I've made a couple of Dragon Ball Z Let's Plays, but I haven't made a video since September or something like that. So it's been a little while, but I appreciate all you guys. Stick around. You're all awesome. Yeah, no more plugs from me. I guess If you want, you can consider becoming a member. No benefits or anything like that. It's just more just to support the channel. But I appreciate all you guys so much. Thanks for watching my videos. You're all awesome. I'll see y'all next time.